right now, we just focus to this web table. So on this web table, again, this web table will be handled only with the help of absolute XPath. Now, if I take my XPath over here, if I take my mouse over here, you can see the first XPath is this. I'll copy this and paste it over here. If I move to the second row, then this is the XPath. If I move to the third row, then this is the XPath. And same way for the fourth and the fifth row, only the TR is changing over here. See, 1, 2, 3. If you see over here, if I go downwards, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, right? Only the TR is changing and rest everything is constant, right? And same way, if I go towards right, then see, with the relative XPath, right now we have relative XPath checked over here. Right? We have not checked the absolute XPath. With the relative XPath, see the hierarchy break. It shows the ID. TR means table row, right? Correct. So if you see over here, it shows the ID if you are using the relative XPath. Now if I change it back to absolute XPath and I again inspect this, now if I go to the second column, you can see that TD is changing. Yes. And over here, then over here, see only the TD is changing. Right? Only the TD. So for the first one, the TD is this. This is for the columns. For the second column, it's this. The third column, it's this. Right? These are for the rows. For rows, only TD is changing. For columns, only TD is changing. Right? And we do not know how many rows are there and how many columns are there. So first, we need to find the total number of rows. And we're going to use the same logic that we have seen in the previous example. So what I'm going to do over here, we can see that the row is starting from 1. The first cell of this element, the row is starting from 1 over here, right? So what I'll do, I'll go to Eclipse and I'll write int I equal to 1. Like this, right? And next thing what I'm going to do, before this 1, I'm going to copy this XPath. I'll break this XPath in 2 parts. This is my starting XPath. I'll say string row start equal to this. This is my starting XPath. And after this dynamic component, I'm going to copy rest of the XPath. So I'll say string row end equal to this. Right. Now, if I write row start plus I plus row end, will it give me the complete XPath or not? So if I write row start will gonna give me the XPath like this. And then I, the value of I is 1. And then this. Now this, if I copy this and let's say paste it over here and press enter. This will give me the XPath of the first cell, right? So this will give me the XPath of first cell. Now what I'll do, I'll write a while loop. When I don't know up till where I need to run, I'll write the while loop. I'll say while selenium dot is element present, and this is the element, right? So very first time, the value of I will be 1. So the first value is present. Yes, it is present. So what it will do? It will increment the value of I. Right. Second time the value of I will be 2. If 2 is present, if I write 2 over here and hit enter, yes, 2 is also present, then it will come inside the loop, increment the value of I, make it to 3, and then it will check whether 3 is present, whether 4 is present, whether 5 is present, and till the time it is present, it will going to run this loop and increment the value of I. Right. Now, let's say if the value comes to 100, it will check whether 100 by right, 100 over here. It will say that no matching nodes found. No matching nodes. It means that the value 100 is not present over here. Right. So it will only going to run the loop up till the values are present. So what I'll do, I'll create one counter as well over here. I'll say int row num equal to, I'll start it from 0. And I'll increment this row num over here, row num plus plus. And then in the next line, I'll say total number of rows are plus row num. I'll write this much logic and let's run it now. So I forgot to change the URL. We need to change the URL as well. So I'll change the URL to times and date, and then world clock, I'll write it over here. I'll save it and run it again. And if we take a look at Eclipse, you can our rows are, so if I type in the TR, if I type 36, and if I press enter, then let's see up till where it has gone to the last row, the first cell in the last row, right? So we have actually counted the total number of rows dynamically in this table. And the same logic we are going to use to find the total number of columns as well, right? So what I do, if you see over here, if I again take my mouse over here, the columns are also starting from 1, right? So I'll say I equal to 1. And then I'll again break this X part. I'll take this part, since this time the dynamic element is this. Right. So I'll break this X part and I'll say string column start equal to this, and string column end equal to this. What I'll do in the end, I'll take this X part and paste it over here. I'm not going to take the dynamic component because I will be putting this dynamic component value from I, right? And same thing I'm going to use over here. If I write call start plus I plus will going to give an X bar. And what I'll write over here, I'll again call the while loop. I'll apply the same logic for the columns as well. While Selenium dot is element present, while this element is present, then what it should do? It should increment the column value by 1, the value of I by 1, and I'll create a counter for column as well. Column equal to start from 0, and I'll increment the column as well over here. And then I'll print total number of columns are plus column. And I'll save this and run this again. This is still loading. And now if we again take a look at Eclipse, we got the total number of columns as 8, right? Alright, so now we got total number of rows as well as we got the total number of columns. So over here, if you see the total number of columns, if I write 8 over here, this will take me to the last cell in this column, to the last column cell, right? Now we have got total number of rows, we have got the total number of columns. Now we need to extract the entire data from this table, right? So how will we do that? In order to do that, we need to create we need to create 2 loops, one for row and one for column, right? So let's see how we can do that. I'll create 3 variables over here. I'll say string xpath start equal to this string xpath end equal to this and string xpath mid equal to this. Now what values I'm going to insert over here? In my xpath start, I'll break this xpath and copy the value before the first dynamic element. And I'll paste it over here like this. The middle value will be after this one. I'll just copy this path and paste it over here. And the last value will be after the second dynamic component, that is over here. Now what I'm going to do, I'll run a for loop. I'll say for in rows equal to, rows are starting from 1. And I'll run this rows less than equal to 36. So I'm not going to write this 36 over here. I'm not going to use this 36. If I use the rows number as 36, then this will not be a dynamic code. Because if the rows next time will going to increase to 37, or if it's going to increase to 40, then this loop will only going to run up till 36, right? So instead of writing it as 36, I'll use the counter that we have created for rows, that is row num. We have stored the row count inside this row num. So I'll write it over here, rows is less than equal to row num, and then rows plus plus. So it will dynamically gonna run up till the row number, right? So it will first gonna find the total number of rows, and this loop will gonna run till that row number. the next loop, I'll create it one more for loop for columns. For columns equal to 1, columns is less than equal to the call num and not A. And then calls plus plus. And over here, I'll say Selenium dot what I need to do, I need to get the text from all these fields, right? The data is in a form of a text. So I'll say Selenium dot get text, and here I'll write X path plus the rows plus X path with plus the calls plus X path end. And I'll just print this thing. All right. So I'll just print this thing and see what I've done over here. I've written the XPath start. In my XPath start, this value will gonna come. And then in the rows, the very first time, the value will be 1. In my XPath mid, this value will gonna come. And then the columns will gonna have the value as 1. And then in the XPath end, this value will gonna come. If you take a look over here, this will gonna generate the XPath for the first cell in this table. If I click and this will gonna get us, and at the very first time it gets this from this cell, it will gonna get the text. The next time, the inner loop will gonna increment first, right? So next time the value of column will gonna do, so TD will gonna change to 2, right? And if it gets changed to 2, the value will to the of the first, right? Then it will gonna get the text. All right, Anand is saying that my voice is breaking. Is it breaking for everyone or is it just for Anand? Okay, Shantanu breaking here as well. All right, just give me one moment. Let me try to reconnect. Just be there on the meeting. I'm reconnecting it once again. Anand, is it audible to you? All right. Okay, great. Everyone else is able to hear me now? All right, that's good. Okay. So what we were doing over here, the next time we were discussing the column value will be incremented to 2, and then it will go to the second cell in this table, in the first row. Then this column will gonna run up till the column num. So the column num will be 8, right? So for the first row, this will gonna run up till the 8th column, right? And it will gonna get the text from all these 8 columns, right? Once the 8 columns are done, it will gonna come out of this loop and will go inside this loop, right? And it will gonna increment the value of row from 1 to 2. And then the column will be 1. So if we say second row and first column, it will going to give us this cell, right? Second row and first column. Same way, it will going to run the entire loop for the column again for the second row. And then it will going to run up till the row num that is 36 and the columns that are 8. Right? And what I'll do is just remove the new line from over here. ln is for remove line, ln is for the new line, and I'll just print the new line after this loop, right? And now what will happen if I run this? It will going to bring the entire data from this table. So if you just take a look at the console this time, okay. So what is happening over here is that I have started the Selenium server from here. So that's the reason you're seeing all the values from here, right? Otherwise, I mean, the messages of Selenium server will not be printed over here if we start it directly from the command prompt. So it has got all the data from this table. See the very first value, that is Accra Sunday 509, and it's Accra Sunday 509. And the last value in this table is Zurich Sunday 709. And here, if you see the last value, that is Zurich Sunday 709. So we have actually extracted the entire data from this table. What if we want to print each value on the new line? So in case you want to print all these values in the new line, I've removed this ln from here. If I just here and if I put over here, okay, yeah, formatting we can do it like in any way. So if I've added like this new line over here, now the format of this will be changed. I just wanted to print it in the same format that the table is shown in the web page. I just wanted to print it in the same manner. So if you want to like also print some spaces in between these data, you can also do that. So let's run it, and if again you take a look over here, see all the data has been printed in a new line. Now it is more readable, right? So it started from the first data that we can see, that is Accra Sunday 511. See the time has been changed. Right? It's completely dynamic. And over here, the last is Zurich Sunday 711. And over here, you can see Zurich Sunday 711. Right? So it's completely dynamic table. We don't know that how many columns are there in this table. We don't know how many rows are there. We have written how to send this to the Excel file. For that, we need to implement OEPL. We will be learning the concept of parameterization, but that will come later on, right? For that we need to write a Java code to read the Excel file. That is there in the module, right? So in this, I mean, you have seen we don't know that how many columns are there, how many rows are there, and we have first got the column count, first got the row count, then got the column count, and using those two, we have extracted the entire data from this table. Now, no matter next time when I run this code, if new columns are added to this table, new rows are added to this table, this code will gonna run all the time, right? So this is how, I mean, we can dynamically implement the Java logic over. And you can see over here that Selenium is used only 25%. Only the method that we have used for Selenium is Selenium.isElement present and Selenium.getText. And rest else was the Java logic that we have implemented. So Selenium on its own, it's only 20% over here. The rest is the Java logic, right? And we are doing this exercise just to build our Java logic because Selenium is completely dependent on Java. You cannot skip the Java part. All right. So any questions or any doubts in this example? Sure, Anand, I'm going to send the entire code to all the participants after this training. I'll send you the code as well as I am going to send you the recording. I mean, first I'll give you the WebEx session recording. If that is not playing at your end due to internet speed, then I'm also going to convert that recording because the recording size is like when I've converted into WMV format, the recording size was around 517 MB. So if you want to see that, I've already converted yesterday's recording, and the size of that recording was around 517 MB. See, so this is a huge file, and to upload it to YouTube, I need to break this into 3-4 parts, and then I need to do it. Okay. Sure, Priyanka, I'll send you the registration details. I'll send it to everyone. So we're gonna continue with the same classes. Right. And this is what I'm going to please do work, but I'm going to forward it to everyone, and I'm going to send the code for all these everyone, right? I'm also going to send you the registration details, and you can ask me right now, or you can even chat me on Skype after this training, or you can send me mail, right? All right. Voice is again breaking. All right. Okay. Let's just connect it once again. We are about to end the session. All right. Okay. Thanks, everyone. So, guys, are you able to hear me now? All right. Okay. Yes. Okay. You're saying you didn't cover any. See, Prabodh, to make everyone on WebDriver, I need to cover the basics first, because for WebDriver, your Java logic should be very good because it's completely object oriented and there are more than one classes that are used in WebDriver. So I need to explain you the concept of interface first, then only we can work on WebDriver, right? So initially we have covered the Java sessions through RC. We'll have one more session on RC and then we'll directly jump onto WebDriver because our focus will only be on WebDriver. So for the demo session on WebDriver, I have a recording that I have already uploaded onto my website. If you want, you can go to my website over here and you'll find a free tutorial on WebDriver for the day 1 session. If you go to the video tutorial session, and over here you can see there is the introduction to WebDriver, right? So you can click on this video and whatever that I cover in the first session, it will gonna explain you in a very detailed way. You're gonna come to know that what like how you're gonna work with WebDriver. But this I'm going to cover later on in our session. So first we cover the basics and then we'll go to the advanced level. Okay, Mithilesh is saying, let me know. Okay, I'll send you the mail for the details of the course that what we're gonna